Hi Buddhi, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm going to ask you straight off. I'm going to be the Dumbo and ask you, who on earth is Buddhi De Mal?
Hello and good morning and a happy new year.
Wish you the same.
So Buddhi De Mal is Vidanalage Buddhima Chamit De Mal. That's how I was born and the name's given to me. And Buddhi De Mal is my artist name. Buddhi is a name that I've been mentioned from as a kid. That's my nickname from as a young kid, from family to schoolmates and everything. And the word De Mal was suggested to me by a close friend somewhere around 2010. That's when I was starting my solo career. So yeah, that's Buddhi De Mal and Buddhi De Mal.
All right. Buddhi and music, where does it start? How far does it go back? How does it all begin?
I think from very young ages, I would hear especially classic Sri Lankan music, especially Clarence, Milton, Amaradeva, Jyotipala from home. My parents would listen to them. And especially when when we would go for family trips, it would be played on and on in the car or van that we are going. And my family, now in their prime age, they were a very jovial family, a lot of parties and sing-alongs. And that's Sinhalese music. And English music came to my ears, of course, our parents and family singing along in parties. Other than that, through radio, my sister used to listen to a lot of radio, and I was, my ears caught. And I think it was a lot of commercial music back then, which I was opened up to. Nothing much to do with the music that I do now. It took some time for me to get influenced by classic rock in my teen years. And before classic rock, I was introduced to old school hip hop rap, West Coast, Tupac, Snoop Dogg, Eminem. I was a big fan. I still am. Oh yeah. And I think some of my writing styles also have a lot of hip hop rap influence, because I tend to put in a lot of words to writing.
Like you mentioned, you come from obviously the hometown of Moratua.
Yes.
And you said you've listened to loads of Sinhala music. You have loads of Sinhala artists that have inspired you. If I was to ask you, Buddhi, is there one particular artist that really struck out to you, local, I mean, that you have really looked up to in the terms of writing style, music, musical writing? Is there anyone in particular that has stuck with you?
I would say Clarence Vijayawardena.
All right, and any particular reason for that?
That was he was the artist that I would get to hear mostly, because my mom is a huge fan, and the music style which he brought in, his guitar playing to the styles of like the Shadows, and of course I see a lot of Beatles influence in him. I think his music laid a big foundation to my music style as a local hero.
All right. Also, so tell us a bit more about your solo career, your bands. We know that you're frontman of the ever so famous Wagonpark. How did that come along? How does your solo career work? Just elaborate a bit more for us on that.
So with Wagonpark, I formed in 2007.
All right. Was that your first band? Or?
No.
Not
so
really.
in school, my alma mater, St. Thomas's, during grade 10, I joined a band called Carnage. We started as a 3-piece band, and we were playing a lot of punk and metal music. And after graduating from high school, we moved from Moratua towards Talahena, then to Nugegoda, where I'm staying now. Well, not me, but my family.
All right.
And Carnage was the first band. Then after moving, I started Wagonpark with Fira. We met in a college here. and he was from Maldives, and we started as a duo. And after that, he had to go to Maldives. Then I wanted to carry on expanding as a band, and I asked a bunch of my hometown friends who are talented in music, and how I got into the solo thing was our lead guitarist. He's a sailor, and every 6 months he's out on the sea, and sometimes Fira had to go back to Maldives, and then I heavily started writing a lot of songs, and I wanted to perform them. So that's how Buddhi De Mal started. I was representing Wagonpark as a solo individual during those 6 months hiatus each year. And after that, put out, and then after that, I left to America to pursue in my higher studies. And there I released my first EP. And from the feedback which I got, and I started writing more songs. And Buddhi De Mal grew like that, on the foundation of Wagonpark.
All right.
And now I have to balance both.
So basically, Wagonpark first and then Buddhi De Mal, is it?
Yes, that's how it happened.
All right. Before we go to the States and you moving across, you mentioned St. Thomas's.
Mm-hmm.
What was school life like? Were you into the whole studies, or was it all about the music?
Well, mostly it was all about cricket.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I used to play cricket a lot. Then after I got introduced to rock music and started playing with Carnage, I kind of lost interest in not the game, but putting time to play the game.
Right. Yeah.
It was a lot of competition, some politics behind it, and I never liked politics. And I use music to talk about how I see politics.
All right.
And in school mainly it was, sports like cricket. I wasn't the most studious person, I must be honest, but I got through well.
Yeah.
I did my part. Yeah.
All right. So moving back to the States, at what point do you leave? You mentioned your higher studies. At what point and what time of which year did you leave and move across, and where did you move to?
So I moved in 2016.
Right.
The college I went to, Musicians Institute, that's in Hollywood, LA. The reason for me to decide to move was, look, I'm writing in English. My songs are written in English mostly. And the audience here is very small, the reach. And Wagonpark is only active like half a year. And it got kind of frustrating. And I'm hitting 30 then, and I was like, why am I not educated in music if I'm doing it in a professional level? If I want to reach there, I knew that I need to study. And I was blessed enough to get the opportunity to go and study music there. I made a lot of contacts,
What's life like in LA? Like, I mean, for a musician moving across, fresh start, what would you say? Is it a easy job, or is it an easy path to follow, or would you recommend it to people?
I would definitely recommend it to passionate people because you can grow really well because it's so competitive. Left, right, you see there are many people doing the same thing as you are. So you automatically get encouraged. Every day in the morning you wake up and try to give your best. Other than that, it's hard, it's expensive. But life is not easy. It's a lot of hard work for everyone. If you want to grow in your career, you have to go through some stuff.
I suppose it brings the best out of you also.
Exactly. It did for me. I'm so grateful.
If I was to ask you, for example, if you want to be a successful musician, do you think the education aspect is a really important part of it, or would you see it more of the meeting of the people, the contacts you make, the exposure you get via that way, rather than education? Which path would you pick?
I would say it's a balance of the both. Education wise, for me, honestly, I'm not the most studious person, as I said, but I try to learn every day through theory, but mainly in practical sense. and making contacts and connections and keeping good contacts close is very important, because that's how you can really make it in the industry. It doesn't matter if you have a IQ of I don't know what, a very high IQ, or it wouldn't actually get you where you need to if you don't know the right people. So yeah, I think it's a balance.
All right. And if I was to ask you, where do you want to take your music from here, from where you're currently at? What would be the ultimate goal to take your music, especially new year, new start? Where would you like to go?
Well, I'm working on a concept album. That's my solo, Buddhi De Mal. I'm hoping to finish that up by the end of this year and release it. I already have the first single out, and we are tracking the next album for Wagonpark, and we need to get that out. So that's my main plans for this year, and it's a start of a decade. Who knows, can end up wherever. I just want to keep on working on the music, keeping my head straight. That's the plan.
Sounds great. Just another question, moving you back to Sri Lanka and Sri Lankan music. What is Sri Lankan music to you, and how much has it influenced you? Especially, both ways, either for the band or yourself, in your writing style.
Like I said, it's very few artists who have really influenced me or given me inspiration. Unfortunately, most of them are not alive. In the modern era, I don't know, I can't say that I'm a big fan of the music that I'm hearing now. Maybe it's not for my ears and my soul. But I see a lot of talent, of course. Without talent, it's hard. I hear people, blaming this artist, that artist, he's not good, she's not good. But I don't believe that. They have put the effort, and that's how they have made it. I think if people are saying negative things about an artist, as an artist, I would want to see, okay, what have you done? So, yeah, 80% of the music in Sri Lanka is not my thing, but it has a lot of potential, and I hope to see that it goes to an international level.
Also, what would you say, how would you see, has Sri Lankan music evolved? Let's take the last 20 years, 25 years. Do you think it has evolved in the right direction? What's your take on it?
I think it has evolved with the international market industry. I know it's a lot less live music and more electronically made music, but that's how the global industry is moving with. I follow a lot of live music because that's what hits my soul, and that's what I want to do, and it's not how everybody wants to do it. So evolution wise, I can still remember when I was really young, when I was getting into the teens, I got hold of Bhatya Santosh Vasante album, which I think was the turning point for a lot of artists who have come along after that, So I think evolution has happened in Sri Lankan music, and it will continue to do so. Yeah.
You mentioned the international market or the international scene. You've been to LA, you've recorded, you wrote there, you've been involved. How different is the scene here? And obviously it's very different, but what are the similarities you find and what are the dissimilarities you find here?
Similarities wise, the people who like classic rock, even from here and there, that's my audience, because it has a lot of influence in what I do. Not just classic rock, folk music, the singer-songwriter thing and everything. The dissimilarity is that the audience is bigger there and very small here. Especially, it's a small island. Okay, California as a state is 50 times bigger than Sri Lanka, right? And it's like you would get more people appreciating what you do over there because they grew up on that music in comparison to Sri Lanka, Yeah.
If you had to pick a particular moment, and I was to ask you what your favorite moment in your career as a musician has been so far, could you pick and point out one, or are there too many to count?
Well, each performance, especially with like Wagonpark, each performance there's a memorable moment. And with my solo career also there has been. But one particular moment that was, we started out in 2007 with a band competition in Sri Lanka. And in the finals of it, we were very young, okay? And it's the starting point, and at the finals, that one moment, I didn't even tell the band. I had a Sri Lankan flag on stage, covered up, and we were covering Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb. And during the guitar solo, I brought the flag and I lifted it up, and the response, which like 2,500 people going, yeah, that's it. It's something that will be there in my thoughts forever.
All right. And if I'm to ask you, Buddhi, if you are to give a young starting budding musician some advice, what would Buddhi De Mal's advice be to him or her?
Follow your passion, and if you're a musician, if you're especially writing a song, you want to write from your heart, and that is what will make you happy. A lot of people might like it and might not like it, but end of the day, if you put out something that you didn't actually like, even if you get paid for it, I don't think you'll be happy going to sleep. You'll always be thinking, I didn't do exactly what I wanted to do. Do exactly what you want to do, then maybe not at that first time, you might not get paid or anything in return, but keep on that, people will recognize you and see your identity, your true identity, and you'll be recognized for that.
Just basically be yourself, is it?
Yeah, be yourself and do your thing.
All right. Thanks so much, Buddhi, for joining us today. We just want to wish you all the best. We're really looking forward to your personal, like your solo stuff and your band stuff. Let's see what the new decade has to hold for everyone.
Thank you so much for having me, Denham, and I hope to give out more music in this decade.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.